Here we go. Well, we're coming to you late tonight. It's been a very busy trading day. Been a long day. We had the FOMC with Jerome Powell. We had the EIA report for oil, and what kept us later tonight, we were listening to Elon Musk in his conference call with Tesla. So lots of different exciting things. We're coming to you from Traders Community. We got Meta Johnny and Madavi here, and we're going to go through today's market action. As far as the Federal Reserve goes, it was pretty well as we forewarned or forecast last night. So it was a very measured response from Jerome Powell, keeping in mind the importance of not getting sentiment to get diminished. So he obviously, he was in a no-win situation, as we said. The market, and we'll go through it when it happened. We may as well start off with Powell, though. Rates stayed the same. So the market went up in hope that he would be dovish, or at least in a way that would keep stocks elevated. I think what's clear is that he's aware of inflation. He's aware that he's at least got to sound tough. He's also very much aware, as I said yesterday, he cannot control energy prices. He cannot control what governments think, particularly his own, and he cannot control the supply crisis, because he's mindful of them. What caused the sell-off, and we'll see it when we look at the chart directly, was when he talked tough on the fact he talked tough on inflation, but he made the point that that employment is very strong. There's a shortage of workers and a strong economy. What he obviously doesn't want to do is push that over, where all of a sudden they don't have jobs. There was a lot of questions in the Q&A directed towards those not having money to survive. He addressed that situation, mindful of those that are basically barely surviving, food to mouth sort of thing. So that also means they're the first to go in jobs. So keep that in mind when we get to that. So the markets were sharply higher and then came down, and they all closed negative other than one today. So let's go through that, shall we, peeps? So as we can see, oil actually hit its highest in 7 years, a highest settle in 7 years, actually. Natural gas was up sharply, fell to be negative and then closed up again. That's twofold. One is the cold weather up north is continuing, and here we are at the end of January. And we've also got the threat of it in Europe with cold temperatures over there. The whole Ukraine situation. Remember, natural gas and everything goes through there. As far as the S&P goes, we're going to go through those right now. And remember the things we said to watch up there all played out very nicely. Volatility, the spreads in the market maker boxes, in options of the major markets. And the big caps like Apple, not Microsoft, because I had earnings yesterday. Okay, so let's get into these real quick. Let's go to the SPOOs first up. So let me just make this a little bit more presentable for you. So you can see, if we're going to look at the S&P on a daily basis, it was like one of those gift shorts, and we did short up there after the number because it went right to the daily tanking. And here's a good lesson for traders. When it gets all volatile like that, stay focused on your bigger time frame, even if you've got to keep some on, because both Madavi and I did this. He did this on Nasdaq, but similar patterns, as we'll see. But it was hard to stay in it. And then, of course, you miss those big opportunities. But you got to weigh that up with your risk measurement. But the point is, it was a classic sell there off your technical. We did get that, remember the daily kiss of death the other day. So that was alive well there for you. You can see on the weekly chart here. We almost got that kiss of death. See that? It's right in formation. So today's Wednesday. So this really, it actually did hold the 50 WMA. You see that, guys? It did hold that. So there is still a chance this thing can go up, and that news is out. We have a lot of earnings and things to come out. If we go to the hourly, let's go through what actually happened. So we held up all day from yesterday. Remember, there was that Microsoft earnings. Went down, then it went right up to that high. Just prior to the number here was here at 5.8. We rushed to that high. See this 6.8, which was this level, and the Tankin. And it actually did a double top there if you go. If you go real short term here. And then we came down hard. I'm hearing myself echoing here. So, and then right now you can see on the 60 minutes, look where we're at. We're back at the Tankin. So we need to get over this for bulls. Otherwise, we're just correcting 50% of this, coming back to that trend line. You see how it broke that? And now we're just retesting it. So it's pretty simple stuff. And then 240, you can see it. It's all a lot of false breaks, right? So this makes it very hard for options traders because vol gets affected and market makers wide. So when this was going up here, I did look at puts and the spreads were very, very wide. Okay, so let's move on to Nasdaq. And do you want to walk us through this one, Madame? Let me get 240 for you.
Yeah, so, I knew the Fed day was going to come out, and the thing I didn't expect was, I knew Microsoft was going to drive it up, but how much it drove it up was really big. So Nasdaq was up pretty big. Knowing that, I knew the upside of it was not going to be much more than this. The mistake that I made is going short into the Fed meeting instead of waiting out and letting it bounce up and then getting short. So that was, it kind of, messed up my whole...
Yeah, it didn't get you the psych. Yeah, I did the opposite approach. I waited till it came out. Because I like to trade off that reaction. But yeah, you can, I get it, you can miss the... But you recovered quite well there after that. It makes it tough on the risk management.
So I had to, instead of being up and making good money, is I had to ride that thing. When the Nasdaq first came out, it blasted way up there. So I had to stick through the pain, and it was more risk that I wanted to take, and it just, set the trajectory for the day, but anyways, it ended up working out, that trade did. And the next mistake I made, I tried to catch a bottom.
Right. Well, let's look at the 5 minute for that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it just didn't bounce. It just didn't bounce up very much at all compared to 700 points from top and down that it came down to. The bounce was really shallow, and kind of, those two trades kind of, one of them was excellent. I made good money, but I got in too early. I could have done a lot better. The next one, trying to bottom pick the market and trying to outsmart everybody first. Sometimes it's better to make a little bit less, but wait for the trade confirmation than to try to get ahead of it. And right, I know, right. And I'm disappointed in myself today that I did not do this, and I always do this. Today I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. So,
well, I think just, I think when it's hard when you're on a real roll, sometimes just to hang back. But what's, it's psychological is such a big thing. But what you do very well is when you do get in a bit of trouble, okay, let's refocus, let's rebuild. So there's different styles of trading for. So I'm more, I'll just hang back, and then like what does Chemo say, like a cobra, right? But so for me, like for example, on something like an event like today, I obviously watch things like the Nasdaq, but I stick with the I guess, the thicker and more stable SPOOs. Not that they were that stable either, right? So it's important to adjust your weighting of your trade and all that, people. But you can see eventually it did exactly what you thought, though, on the Nasdaq, right? It just worked its way up. And now, as we come into the after hours, you can see, because we're coming out to you late, people, it's 6 o'clock Central here. We were listening to those South African dulcet tones of Elon Musk. So you can see us just coming up here, but it's basically almost 50% of this move. Now, as we often say, markets go where the most pain is. So we knew the market was short. We knew that from the way Vol traded yesterday. So it was expected, if you recall, that once it did that silly stuff. Let me get the daily here. So once it did the silly stuff in here, I just wanted to see it didn't quite get to the Tenkan. So it wasn't as good at setups. I can see why it was difficult. This wasn't as strong as the S&P. So I can go that, on the daily. But we could see that this had got people short, and then we opened, then it kept going up. So then it got, pain was down, and then it became up, and then it became down again. This market's getting very one way. When it's up, they all think it goes higher. When it's down, they all think it goes lower, they being the herd. So keep that in mind and watch your market makers, the way they make their prices. Like, I don't know what it is with a lot of retail or hobbyist traders. They expect the market makers to give you freebies, right? That's their job, right? You're not going to give them a freebie. So look at how they adjust in the box and stuff like that. But yeah, so we've actually got 2 up days there. What does the SPOOs have that? SPOOs daily, sorry. Yeah, very similar patterns. So what we want to see here, we got a spike here. From a bull point of view, you need to get back over this Tenkan. Remember how the Tenkan ran us all up here? So basically all we did, think about this, we collapsed here back 4,700, and this is the first time we got back to the Tenkan since here, 4,600. The difference... Sorry, man?
I said now, I feel more comfortable trading on the short side of the market than the long. Longs might not come back for years.
Right, and you know where you're wrong on the short side. That's why I was a bit annoyed that we got out of that good short as a swing trade.
I always took you as a guy who had shorts, Manav.
So let's look at the Rusty here. So here's the Rusty. The Russell. So on a weekly basis, it's just all red. Remember, on a daily, see how weaker this looks to the others. Yesterday was a great sell off that Tenkan, and today almost the same as the SPOOs. Actually, the Nasdaq's the weakest because it didn't even touch that Tenkan. But you can see the pattern, everyone, that's going on. So this is rebalancing. The market gets even up here. In other words, it's fully sated. So just think what it had to do. Basically, Powell would have had to say nothing hawkish to get through that to get to the Cajun. And you can see on the cheek how it rebalanced, -1.8 to 8.8, like a perfect maths move. 60 minutes, you can see it play out. So what I want you to be getting out of this is the crowd psychology, ABC. What all that means, sharp impulse down. So, yeah, unless it gets back over here, it's pretty hard to be bullish, right? Unless you're on the grid, double bottom, something like that. Okay, so let's look at oil today. So oil was interesting. Let me find our oil. So oil, if you can see this chart, got back up and it's now done a double top on a weekly basis. And this was the highest settlement on oil since 2000, for 7 years, sorry, not since 2007, in 7 years. So here's the gift that keeps giving, oil, probably oil companies think, the SPR, from Joe Biden, and we've just rallied hard since then. Right, so just look at how far that goes. What's interesting today, it wasn't a bullish EIA storage report. We had all this to and fro going on the equity markets, but this still went up. So supply issues, Omicron's unraveling. I mean, getting less dangerous, you know what I mean? We got geopolitical issues with oil countries, producing countries, and cold. So plenty of fundamental reasons there. Let's look at the daily. See the double top potential. So this is still can be a B, C, right? So that's still playing out. We're at 8.8. It has to accelerate quickly if it's going to go higher without more of a constraint. Let's look at the 240 there. You can see what it did. Pretty nice, classical. Some spits here, like all of them. This was the one that really, wasn't as cut and dried till it got back over here. So that's, a good $2 move here. And if we go to natural gas, here, so we're still doing this cold and warm weather thing. Do you see this? And it's right in the middle. So again, what a great short this was. Off the Tenkan, off the cloud this morning, real easy, and on the 510. So what happens is with most markets, they want to buy when everyone else is buying, sell when everyone's selling. I think we're all pretty familiar with that now, right? So Natgas 5 minute, just to show you what happened. So here's that 8.8 plus 2.8 on the other, and then so we open up cold weather. Each morning this has been going up when you read about what's going on in Europe. This is a domestic currency, domestic future. And then we sold off to go negative, and then we bounced back to close positive. But this came all the way, Madavi, from 420 down to 390 today. And then back up to 409 and back having... I mean, this is a little volatile thing. That is known as the most volatile commodity, so...
Yeah, I mean, you can even see the print, so you had to kind of judge it. So it's not like you see much. And man, if you got yourself in a bad position, I mean, if you were right, you're most likely getting stopped out.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of these markets are like this, right, everyone? So in the commodities, you got fundamental moves, you got big hedging flows, you got market makers pulling out when it gets volatile, and that goes right through the stocks, the commodities, everything. And while we're on commodities, let's see how gold did. I didn't actually look at it. So remember last night we looked at this? It got to that pennant. It was a make or break. Couldn't get through. So we're back in here. So everyone, we need to this is a weekly chart. Just keep your eye on that if you're a gold trader. And keep an eye on it if you're a currency trader. Here is silver. Much the same, different pattern, but you can see the same thing.
This lady right there is donkey too.
So we got the same pattern. On copper, look, they're all doing the same thing. Okay, and one more. I get is John Meta Johnny here?
Yes, Meta
And
Johnny.
here's your little world, my friend. So, and we had the checkmate on earlier, and before we had to adjourn to listen to Elon tell us all about the Cybertruck. But this is a mirror image of the Nasdaq futures. In the US time zone, just bit by bit, if you miss one. So as I've always said, or we harp on about, this is the speculative beast, right? And it also tells you that the Nasdaq and the Russell in particular, and this is why everyone got caught up the top there, no doubt. Still, just when someone tells you about fundamental values of all these things, I'm not talking about this specifically, but a lot of these stocks that they pushed everyone in and promoted. Okay, just walk out of that room. Anyway, here we go. We came down just a mirror image of what we were just talking about, right, Madavi, on not natural gas, on Nasdaq.
Nasdaq.
Yeah. I mean, Nasdaq, man. I mean, that thing is just puking it, isn't it? I mean, it just can't hold it. It's gravitating towards the negative side. I thought today would be a positive day, but I guess they're looking to, it's a good indication when you got the Russell down 20%. That's where they want to take all these indexes to.
Yeah, definitely the speculative ends. The difference with the S&P is, in the Dow, they actually have the heavy producing, dividend-paying stocks, but the pure tech ones,
it's still all expensive.
Oh yeah. Nothing's cheap.
Hey, and even at 20%, they're still expensive.
Oh, you mean yeah? Because that's the thing, people. Let's look at a weekly chart again on Nasdaq. Where's the weekly? Look how far this thing's come from, right? I mean, let's tighten that up. I mean, we have come down, and look, people laugh. I just laugh at people that make fun of like mathematics or Gann and Murray. I'm like, okay. Look how mathematically perfect this is, and it's just come down to correct 7/8 from 1/8. So just from 1/8 to plus 1/8, we've only come back 2/8, right? So we don't even have to look at fibs. You know that's a long way. But what we did bounce off was the cloud, and this is a weekly cloud. So and as Madavi said, we should be getting something going on here. This was almost 20% here, wasn't it, the other day when it collapsed? I thought Nasdaq.
Look at Intel, for example. Look, it was up. Now look at Intel.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, actually, that's a good point. Let's be while we're still on stocks. We did oil, but we did Natty. Let's go on to stocks, right? So we had two earnings today: Tesla and Intel. As I mentioned, we listened to Elon and we heard all about his rendezvous in Vegas. Oh, sorry, wrong guy. So here we are in Intel. So this is, right here, guys. So this is the earnings dropped. And if you want to tell, because you traded this and you looked at the earnings, what were the earnings? Before you talk the price action, were they beat on what looks initially, and then they looked at them?
I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but they beat. They were pretty strong. I guess there was a little bit of chip problems he mentioned, and that's what drove the stock down. But then, like I said, once people, there's a lot of Tesla fans out there.
Oh no, this is Intel we got.
And once people like to overlook the numbers one more time, they're going to start buying this. Kind of like.
Hang on, are we talking about Intel or Tesla?
No, Tesla.
Oh, okay, let's go back to Tesla. Yeah. Sorry.
So then Intel will get to next.
Yeah, so Tesla actually had a record earnings number, and the only negative, as Madavi just said, was and we listened to him, and they kept trying to bait him actually in the Q&A, and I got to say, he knows how to handle himself, and when he doesn't, he goes quiet. And didn't I already answer that kind of thing? But one thing he kept saying, and if you're a Tesla shareholder, the guy is pretty measured. Him and Powell kind of sound a little bit alike, except this one's got that South African accent. But he was very much, we're not going to do the Cybertruck now, we're not going to do new models because of the chip shortage, so we can keep it going, and we also want the Cybertruck to be affordable. So therefore, we're not going to waste money over here and make. So that's all. He's on track for the batteries. An interesting thing I found that he said that the battery, because they kept baiting him about batteries and lithium, and you can see where it's all going. They're looking for click bites, right? He said, no, the battery's not the issue for the truck. He said, this is why we're doing it. And he spoke of his main thing is Texas and Germany, the two functions, the new plants there. So I didn't hear anything about Bitcoin. We did go over the numbers. They obviously took a pretty good hit on Bitcoin. They put $1.5 billion in that, a year ago? Was it that long ago? And then that's obviously way down, but I didn't hear him touch on that. So price-wise, we saw it, where was it? About 950 just before it came out. And you can see it, this is a live chart here, so you can watch it still trading. It came down to 880, like 879 was the low. From there, it rallied. Musk started talking about here. We rallied all the way back to 970, which is where it broke down from. So, again, if you know your technicals, look at this. Almost to 08, but under 18. We had a full 5/8 move. We corrected. This seemed to be when he was talking about the Cybertruck. No new models. It fell from this 960 down to 920, 925. And we've just gone sideways since. I think he finished his convo around here at 920.
The one thing now as a trade-wise, I'm glad I took my own advice and didn't get into Tesla. A lot of people were bullish. We're going to ride it.
Into the earnings, you mean? Yeah,
like me, right?
Well, you got out just before because you got mad.
Yes, No, I said I'm in it. Should I get out or should I stay? And you guys said get out, and I did, and it dropped out. I was 950, I think, and it went down to 890 or 870,
879, 880. Yeah.
And I picked it up then and wrote it up. In and out a couple of times. The last time I got kind of.
Well, so and psychologically, you're right.
Now let's pretend,
Paul Newman.
Johnny, if you were in that trade before the earnings, that would have ruined your whole trade if that was the case, right? Just by making that one decision.
Yeah. So I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and similars, I guess, the way on that into the FOMC, the way I didn't take a position in, just so you keep your mind straight. There's a monetary risk, but there's a psychological risk.
You see the storm coming, and you either prepare for it or you don't. And this totally caught me off guard. All aspects of what just happened.
Yeah, I think with some of the cult stocks, people always think they can only go up, despite the market taking it like a champion this afternoon, right? I mean, the last time I saw something get smashed around like that, it was, I don't know, what, Tyson versus Holyfield? Something like that, right?
Well, a lot of people who just started trading in the last few years have never seen the market sell off. They're used to just keep rallying, right? Yeah. So this is a new market, and this is how it should. This is a market I'm used to trading. Not that we're going bankrupt. Okay, go up, whatever,
Yeah. The AMC sort of stuff.
It's going up, No businesses, we crashed 2 planes, killed 5,000 people, go up.
Well, and so we've had 2 monster rallies over the last 3 days. And it's like if you listen to these CNBCs or Bloomberg, all these, or look at the FinTwits, they're definitely quiet. Well, CNBC's always, they'll jump on a train, bearish or bullish, but things like the FinTwits and the Reddit trading rooms, and Checkrate made this the other day, remember this point. These things have really died down. And so you notice they're definitely quiet when it's down. And when it goes up, they get full of hopium because, we can still buy the dip, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then when it gets wrecked, so what happens is these people tend to buy all at the top too. It's not as if because I read them. I don't buy, don't catch knives, don't buy the dip, all this. Well, that's when you buy it if it technically sets up. So when they buy is when they think it's all breaking up again, which is basically when we're turning around and selling it, right? So
now the unfortunate part is they're taking all my money, that they borrowed for this time. I just can't get all of them at the same time. That's they're going to run out pretty quickly here.
I mean, here I thought it would take a look at Tesla on the 4 hour. So look at that. If you look, so that's the other thing. You want to just not look at these things real short term. Look what it did. 1, 2, 3 waves down, right? But it ran all these stops under here. See this? This is 4 hour. I mean, we look at it daily, I guess. So here's the thing that amazed me with Tesla this year. So this is today. This is that wipeout 3. This is daily, 3 days ago. But here's what I find amazing. So Elon Musk sells $50 billion, or was it 30 billion, whatever it was, 20 billion?
Yeah, 15, 20 billion.
Yeah, so that's quite a decent whack, right, boys? Here the market says, oh, fucking, so they buy it all the way up here. And they wonder why. So think about it, there's 20 billion fresh money, good old money gone, fresh money coming in here. I mean, that's how nutty these markets are getting. And if we look at Amazon, so this one's even dumber. But you can't tell these people, right? They know it all. So Amazon does this. If we go to a weekly, I think you got to go to, right? When the Bezos got divorced, they sell at least 50 billion up here. I think it's even more. I forget. The market buys, so they sell. They ain't buying it back. He's off getting all swelled up and flying rockets and all this sort of stuff. He don't care. So all these funds come in and buy all this. Just think, so they're buying all up here too, right? And what do they think's going to happen? So there's less and less buyers when that sort of thing happens. So this is, and this is one of those we've been bearish for a long time. Just go through 2 years worth of Trades Community Nova Wave websites on this thing. Caught it a day. What do they think was going to happen? Right? That's $1,000. This is very Bitcoinish, right? What's the maths on that? That's 20. Wow, it's even more than that. 2,800. So that's $1,000. So that's nearly a quarter of this whole price gone. So I just find it laughable that somehow they know more than the guy that created the company sells out in both these examples, So that's the mindset of...
Well, one thing about Eli, he even says is stock's overvalued.
Yeah, and both of them said it. I mean, definitely Elon. But somehow and so just be wary of all these... So I'll just put it this way. If people were telling you to buy this crap 2 months ago, and now they're the big bears and experts, I mean, just walk in the other room too. You're walking out a lot of rooms today, aren't you? But yeah,
Intel.
Oh, back to the mighty Intel. Yeah. Sorry, mate.
Yeah.
So let's bring that up.
Shorter right now. I'm looking for a little. I'm about almost break even, but I'm hoping in the last hour. 20.
So they had earnings, and I didn't actually look at the numbers on this, but I'm looking at the chart. Let's go to
here's the fundamental problem with Intel. It hasn't done much in the last 10 years. It's fell behind of AMD in its chip development. They can't develop their latest chips. So now it's putting money behind it, like $10 billion, open up these plants and everything like that. And that is in the hopes of being able to do this turnaround story.
And those plants take 3 years to build, if not 5. Yeah. And then TSM's already got their newer.
And NVIDIA, AMD. I mean, yeah.
They haven't been successful in 10 years in creating the chips or anything. So it's a lot of risk, but I think Intel will eventually be good. But I think there's going to be a lot more downside to this than it's going to take a lot more lumps, I think, and especially now it's not the leading chip producer no more. And it's not the all in all, and I don't know for how much, and their margins are going to start hurting since they lost their reputation for not being the best out there. Is people willing to pay that big premium compared to getting AMD, which is a better chip?
Yeah, they somehow got. It's funny, the market. It's kind of like being in love with an old TV, and yet there's so many new ones come along, or an old car. You know what I mean? Somehow they've kept that brand prestige. Is it because so many people have them in their 401k or something? I don't know.
Intel?
Yeah, it's not going to go away, but hopefully it can make this transition, which I think it's got so much money that I think it will be able to, but it's not going to be a smooth ride. It's going to have some lumps, and especially during a down market, people are not going to be as forgiving as they once were.
remember what happened to Motorola. You had Motorola supplying chips to Apple and that whole thing. So Intel, they made CPUs, and CPUs, they used to run all the PCs that were out in the workplace and at homes. And then now the machines are running off of the different types of processors that are much faster. They're GPUs.
Yeah.
So the CPU market, it's kind of antiquated, and their technology is antiquated, and they're waiting for some funding. The federal government's coming through with that. I can't remember the name of the app. For the money, they're going to give them a lot of money.
It has the money.
Is that being approved?
Do it.
Yeah, it's been approved.
Bills that they keep trying to come.
Yeah, they're going to give a lot of our technology companies, because they want to get away from our dependence on Taiwan because of China.
So I think the government would back up a lot of projects with Intel, but Intel has, like I said, more money than it. That's the only thing it's got going for itself. It's got a shitload of money, and it can play catch up.
Well, I just got a question on that. So when does all that happen? We already know they're behind the ball on technology.
Basically, it's starting now. They got a plant in Ohio they're building. Should be up in 3 years. I think.
So in 3 years' time, when they're already behind technology and the speed of technology is so fast, what are the odds that they're going to be up?
All the great minds are being hired by Taiwan Semi.
Well,
not just that. NVIDIA, AMD, like that German company you like. What's it called?
ASML. But the thing is that you have to remember that a lot of those companies are using Taiwan Semi to.
Oh yeah, they're the biggest foundry in the world. Yeah.
But they're doing the designs also. They're doing the actual designs. Certain chips do certain functions, so they're different. So they're coming up with designs because most of the people that are the engineers are in Taiwan.
Well, so Taiwan also is. I think they may have already built it, but they're in the process of building a plant in the States, in like Arizona or somewhere.
Oh, is it that? Yeah, something like that. But one thing with Intel, it's out in California. Their headquarters. It's got.
Are they still there, or they're not going to be smart about it?
Up in Northern California, yeah, that's where they get all their old colleges there.
Berkeley, and okay.
Eli and everything. That's why Silicon Valley. All these computers say, hey, let's just move out of here. Well, it's kind of hard because where Silicon Valley is all those colleges are there, and that's where they recruit the top minds, they say.
Yeah, but isn't it top like MIT and places like that?
So
and then there's plenty of good universities all over the States now, like Texas, California,
not like it is there. It's specifically geared for all that.
Well, but I read a thing where a college kid just can't even afford to be there. The debt. You read stuff with like the homeless people got. It's better to be homeless over there.
Oh, trust me, those like Stanford's not going nowhere. Cal's not going.
Oh, they're not going anywhere. I was talking about the college kids that you're talking about. So.
Well. See, if you're a smart enough mind, they'll sponsor you through there. So
they give you a scholarship.
Smart kid who's got potential. There's always money there for you.
Right.
It's just for the guys who can't play football or not so smart. They'll have problems.
Right.
Yeah, but you've got some of these super chips that are coming out, and Tesla's got that one, and I think they talked about it today, mate, when we were listening.
Yeah. So that's one thing that's impressed me with him is that they a year and a half ago, at least a year and a half ago, he realized we can't be beholden to anyone, so we need to build our own. For not just for that, and I think we mentioned it before, but he's bought nickel and lithium directly from people like BHP and stuff like that, big long-term deals. So, to me, the Intels and these other companies are going with a hand in glove to bloody Biden or whatever. Shame on them. If other companies could do it, why couldn't they? That's shocking management, and it becomes an excuse.
So remember, though, you're talking about two things. It's material that he's done, which is he sourced wonderfully, all those. But then there's the intelligence that goes on those chips. So when he had the chips, and he's in charge of the intelligence that goes on, where Ford has to go to Taiwan Semi, and they outsource it. So if there's a chip shortage or there's a problem, they're having to wait for product and shut their factory down. But Tesla can take the chips that had that were made for some other function, and they can reprogram them because they have the logics and they have the programming on the chips. So that's how they were able to come through this last year without as many hiccups with chip shortages and not delivering cars. They actually sold more cars than any other manufacturer because they had that ability, and just an EV company from the ground up.
And here's another thing.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of these guys who are into these ships are foreigners, right? So what they could do green cards and everything and recruit them from around the world. So they got a lot of advantages there they can do.
You're talking about Tesla?
No, Intel.
Oh, Intel, right. Well, NVIDIA can do that. AMD can do that too. Yeah. I mean,
it's not only that, but the state of the art technology that Intel's supposed to be putting in and stuff. It's going to create a good, attractive places and an amount of money you could get too.
Well, where's AMD and NVIDIA based in the States?
So always remember one thing though. By the time they get the factory and the foundries and the things they need, there'll be a new generation of the Taiwan semiconductors products that are out there that are going to be far beyond what they're going to have at that time. That's the dilemma.
Well, I hear that, but see, the guys are going to be recruiting is going to be the top guys who are going to be going there, and plus the plant they're buying is going to be not going to be built for like the next 5 years. This plant's going to be pretty much state of the art, you know. But it's got cash, you know. When you got money,
but doesn't NVIDIA have even more money?
No.
I mean, I would be interested to look at it because NVIDIA's just been killing it. AMD's been killing it. I mean, AMD did the takeover. They bought Xilinx, for example.
So the thing with Intel's been around for a long time, and it's got the biggest premiums of any other chip for all these years, you know? So
still?
Intel.
Do they still have that?
They still have a premium, but it's getting less and less.
Right.
But they also have the business side of it, which they're starting to lose a little bit. And that's what they care about the most. A lot of these companies have like great leasing programs, whatever they have with Intel for lots of years, you know.
Right.
And part of
there's history to it.
So just so you know, TSMC is number one, number two, and that's 653 billion for TSMC. NVIDIA number two is 582.43 billion.
What billions?
Samsung
billion of what?
That's it. That's their
market cap. You're talking about.
Market cap. Okay.
Yeah.
Market. You got to look at cash on hand and stuff.
But the rank per country is NVIDIA is the largest in the U.S.
Where's AMD coming in?
Market cap wise, you're talking about.
Yeah, and so the other thing is, as far as semis go, a lot of people forget about Samsung over there in South Korea.
Yeah, Samsung's the other one.
That's number two now. I remember seeing something the other day for sales.
It's not going to be easy.
Nice to show here that NXPI is 15, and then you've got AMD is 13. So they're not quite as big, but it shows that they have revenue of 9.6 billion. Hold on. AMD is I'm sorry. EMC, way down at the bottom, so I can't get to them right now. But the on NXPI is this thing is not working here. Infineon is number 14 because I left 14. Their revenue is 8.9 billion. Then the AMD is 9.6 billion, and NVIDIA is
they're at NVIDIA up now
14.1 billion.
So NVIDIA is considered one of the most cutting edge of the lot, best designers, all that sort of thing, best CEO.
Well, they get it from they sold their manufacturing to I think you just named it. So they got a kind of like a friendship deal over there.
TSM. Well, so it's a Taiwan tie-up because the CEO's from Taiwan. Yeah.
Well, they bought their when AMD was going broke, they had to sell their manufacturing.
Oh, you're talking about AMD. Yeah, I'm talking about. Okay, well, let's have a look at AMD's a great turnaround story. That just shows you what Intel's missed, right?
Intel took his ball off the ball because they thought they're going to be
yeah, they're tibial arrogant.
Well, one thing that Intel has is right for corporation and everything. They give you like the best deals they give you for financing and everything. Like they can do it all. So that helps a lot of people on the buybacks or whatever they do. So and they've been with these. A lot of people don't like to change unless they're forced to. Once you got these clients,
it becomes habit. Yeah. So his AMD hasn't really done anything since Intel earnings. Usually it does, right? But it hasn't today. It's just following. It's an exact mirror of the S&P. His AMD 5 minute.
Yeah, and that's gone up huge. Now that thing is way overpriced. I mean, it was. You know, I was not a big fan of the AMD for a bit, as you well know.
Yeah.
And boy, did I mess that one up.
Let's have a look at those on a daily. Wow, that's been quite a good sell-off off the top. Look. So they got up to, wow. I think I had some here. I think I got out about here. But it went up to 165. And here's how stupid this market got. We know a few of these so-called tech experts, you know, on the internet and bloody rooms and crap. Well, as soon as it 165, people we're going, dude, this is so crazy. You got to short it or buy puts. Oh, it's going to 200, and it scares you. Actually, we're all human. You're like, what if they're right? But now in Johnny hindsight, it's blatantly obvious. And so there's some people I know that just made insane amounts of money short a lot of this stuff. I mean, that one bloke I was telling you about, we were talking about last night. But what's funny is they're made out to be the bad guy. The bad guy to me is people are putting people in here, right? And recommending all this is safe and blue. I mean, and this is a good company. We don't even need to start with the crap companies, right?
Which one are you talking about?
Oh, just any of them, you know. But here we're talking about AMD being a good one and being grossly overvalued. That's $50 off its high from, that looks like December. So we're not even the end of January. So in 2 months, it's lost nearly a third of its value. I mean, pick a stock. What do you want me to put in? Upstart? UPST, right? Have a look at this little beauty. I mean, give me strength. Right? Look at this thing. $400. Do you laugh or cry at this point? It went down to 80 something. Under 80. Right? And this
What's impressive is Micron's a $21 billion company. That's much larger.
It has got a ton of shares, right? And that's another turnaround story, right? But all of them got whacked, like 98. I mean, obviously, the Nasdaq where they were. So we're actually getting back to some value on the face of it. But when you go to a weekly chart, as Madavi said, they're like, hello, Freddie. These things are like way overdone still, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, as far as evaluation, if it comes back in and the economy... So here's the thing Jay Powell's got to do. If he goes too hard, these things are done. So much money's lost. And just don't think of him as a share. Think of him as a corporation, as an employer, and all this sort of stuff. People forget this crap. These elites that are up there, I mean, you know, and you just read
Well, these people have houses, they have mortgages, they have...
the whole...
the whole thing, kids.
So that's why you don't put it all on red, right? But it's okay to be out of the stock market when it's up here. When Freddie's up here buying, you know to be out. I mean, when I was listening to a podcast, I'm like, well, you know who I played for. Anyway, one of the new signings, the bloke's going on about crypto and all this. He's like 26. All he done's played football, never been. I'm like, shit, if that's not a top. And sure enough, that's like, you know. But he made a new, he said, yeah, I know it's all gambling. I don't do any more than what I'm willing to gamble. Well, the difference is, MU's not a good, Upstart's a good one. I mean, what was that one I really liked, Short and Path or whatever? I mean, this was a new IPO. So already you know the bloody thing's overvalued. This is one of the easiest shorts I've ever done. Wow, I didn't realize we're up that good, buddy. Look at that. $34. But So this is no different to buying a Bitcoin or something, right? I'm not belittling Bitcoin, but what I mean is the risk thing, you know. Look at this thing. 80 bloody 4. I mean, give me another one. We're having fun here.
Oh, back down to Intel. I've been short because I think it's going to take a tanking over here. I'm just waiting, hopefully, the next 10 minutes.
A tanking or a tanking? Tanking off the tanking? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We got to get new material, guys.
No, I'm break even right now. Hopefully, we get a little point down.
Need a vacation.
Yeah, I just had one. Yeah, I'm up for it.
Not to beat a dead horse, but I'm not bullish on the thing, obviously.
Oh, I thought you were bullish.
I'm just saying, as you know, when a company takes his eyes off the balls.
Yeah, that's a good example, right? I mean, we talk about they go on about the elites, you know, politicians, and well, the same thing happened in companies like Intel. And they're all in the same parties. They're all the same cocktail parties, and that's the whole trouble with energy. Oh, you can't buy that terrible oil and gas. And they're probably, oh, that's the bloke from Intel. We don't talk to that upstart. I didn't mean to use that word, but from NVIDIA or whatever, you know. And lo and behold, here we are. And you know, these guys have got there by all political deals. And so that's it. They take off the ball from that. I think all that's kept this up, Madavi, overnight is all the optionality, all the open interest is at 50. You know?
Yeah. And well, they were supposed to make some big announcement today, and I guess they're going to save it for their so-called investor meeting in a couple of weeks. So they didn't talk.
In case the price craps, they're going to pull something out of their hat. Yeah, I got you.
You know, but people are kind of exiting right now after they didn't hear the meat of the story, and now they got to wait an extra 2 weeks so people show up.
Do you want to hear a rumor that someone just sent me? You ready for this one? That they're going to push Kamala Harris to be...
Yeah, I saw that Supreme Court. Could you imagine
so,
that?
If you think it can get any more bizarre...
I mean, the reason you're usually become vice president is because you're like the low Tattenful, and you're not going to compete with the president, so they got to... It's usually
but well, we look at that.
Or you've also got
the only reason Biden's president
contacts.
Because he was that, wasn't it?
Biden
was vice president.
Relationships,
yeah.
networking.
Yeah. My point exactly. You know.
yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. I mean, yeah.
I mean,
so that's today's sign of the Armageddon guys. Kamala Harris being a.
I mean, she's terrible. I mean, she ran for president. Did she even get like one?
No, she didn't get anything. That's why, which is to the point you're making about she was no threat to the current, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you can't find a more terrible person.
Yeah, I have not read much good about that lady.
Besides making secret trips out to California so she can sleep in her own house, she doesn't do anything else.
That's interesting.
You tell me how Nancy Pelosi is in office, and then that'll explain why Kamala Harris is.
You can't compare.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're both like.
I mean, Pelosi's been around since Jesus.
Well, I'll give you a tip. So let's just look at why she's going to be in. As we talked about this last night,
she's
going to be in there for a while because she's got what? Let's go through a portfolio here. Roblox.
Yeah. Right.
Wow, there's $63.
That's why she wants to get out.
63. Who else has she got? We know she got Tesla. But anyway, all jokes aside, it's not exactly right that someone in that position can punt like that. But what's interesting, she bought options. So she's paying for that tater. Wow, look at this. This is real.
They made that justice get off the court. They're like, no way, you got to retire. They're pushing that guy.
Yeah.
And they were like hoping she makes it through the Trump presidency, and she came close.
She's 81 years old. 81, dude.
Who? Pelosi?
So
why are you buying Roblox? I couldn't imagine. Why are you buying Roblox if it's 81? To make money.
81, I mean, what are you doing?
Yeah, greed makes no balance.
I don't even give my dad the remote control.
I'm going to tell him that.
Just kidding. He can't. He doesn't even know how to use Netflix.
Johnny.
And we got Nancy Pelosi.
And the
Johnny,
video
options
has come
trading.
back well too.
Uncle Chemo's got a word for you.
What?
Hey, Johnny Pelosi. Until probably the last 6, 7, 8 months. Before that, I would never have guessed 80-something years old.
Yeah,
Actually,
she
81.
has aged a lot. That's what a bad stock portfolio can do to you, you know. Even if you are running a country.
He looks pretty good though.
You know what her claim to fame is, right?
We're live here. We better not say it.
No, I'm just saying, you know.
You gotta offend JFK's fans.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
He took an elevator ride with Kennedy.
Yeah, that is her fame.
Yeah,
Same one that Aerosmith sang about.
Yeah. You know? But I think Mate likes Pelosi.
I like it to check out that tape.
Let's have a look at, here's your RK. What did that do? Wow. Is that getting to a level yet, Johnny? Before.
Level of-
So how's, you talk about someone who's probably aged a lot. Old Kathy must be like, what the heck? She would have been listening to hanging off every word of Tesla. Or is she at the point... See, here's what often happens when you're so down on something. Here's ARC Weekly, right? So we are playing in the 61.8%. So really it needs to close over 69.75 to be over 61%. So meaning it's lost 2/3 of its value. And where is it? 69.03. And at 69.75. It's right on it. She's 66, Kathy?
She's 66. 3 kids.
Yeah, I bet she was doing her 65 to 66 hasn't been the easiest year for the poor lady.
Can't imagine that stress when you're 66 years old.
I mean, the stress of this, of being belittled. She obviously believes in what she's believing, or psychologically, is she in denial now? And I don't mean disrespect. I think I've always been impressed that she must have put up with all that misogynism and all that to get where she did. And but she shouldn't have. They should have had better advice to not being an ETF. That she had to keep buying and buying, and then it becomes self-fulfilling up, self-fulfilling down, right?
And you know, I don't know how much she's losing sleep over it. It is OPM.
Yeah. She's hopefully, for her sake, she cashed out a few chips up here.
And OPM, for people who don't know what it means other people's money.
Right. Here's Fubo. This is another one of those ones we were just talking about. So Fubo, look at that, one of the great weekly sells. It's plus and 2/8. I mean, Disney wouldn't even buy more of it. It'd be interesting what Disney does. I forget it. What they got, 5% or 10%. Here's what's funny. Murdoch, when he sold Fox, I'm pretty certain, gave this to Disney. Oh, you can have Fubo while you're at it. So that's what he thought of it.
I think they are associated with ESPN and everything too, right?
No, ESPN is owned by Disney. So they own a share of
The
Fubo.
Netflix news just came out.
Oh, what was it?
It was one of those hedge fund guys bought like 30
Oh,
million.
Ackman.
Was 30 million shares.
You don't mean, not to be confused with the Dallas Cowboys quarterback people.
Troy.
It's not even the same spelling, I think. Well, here's Netflix after. This has been a hell of a good investment. Look at that. This is what you call a great tax deduction, people. $700
Jeez.
to where the hell is it? There's this gap all the way down here to 359. So that's 50, half its value. That's impressive.
I mean, that's called a haircut, huh?
Yeah, that's called.
Wow, that just happened.
That's after their earnings. That's called joining the military,
I remember
becoming
that
a
from their earnings,
Marine.
but this is let me look them up.
So just think about this: if these best of brands are getting a big haircut, imagine what the ones that don't have the good name.
Yeah, and these guys actually make money, and people use their product. You know.
I mean, it'll be interesting if Palantir is around in 6 months or a year.
Which one's that again? Peloton? Oh yeah, Palantir. Yeah. Well, so that's the thing. You can have a great brand, but you got to charge. So what Netflix is doing is they're actually realize, okay, we're making money now. They're pushing their price up to pay for the content or whatever, and they're probably so they're actually, but they got the brand right. There's them, Amazon, Apple. I mean, that's Disney. It's all that sort of thing.
Well, here's the thing: is how many shareholders are going to put up with their CEO taking out $1 billion of
On Amazon?
No, on Palantir's companies like that.
Yeah. Well, they didn't. Well, yeah, the Netflix news, they hasn't affected their price. They haven't gone up after.
They deserve it. They could do that. They've been around. They earned to do that.
No, but what I mean is, St. Ackerman or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
It hasn't pushed their price up after hours.
Yeah, it went up. It went up. When I saw it, it was up. It was up like 30 points.
Is this the close?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm used to our Sierra charts. These are
maybe the charts got frozen again.
Yeah, so it looks like, well, on our one, so this is just a different, so this was the close here, sorry. Yeah, so that was the close. Looks like 361, and now they're 374. Okay, they're up $13, right? So good on, yeah, I mean, all I know about that guy, if who I'm thinking of, he's the guy that was short. What's that Amway one? Who's the other Amway one? It's on
Wait, no.
The food one, Nutrient.
Talking about the Palantir guy?
No, the guy who's just bought Netflix and did this. What was that company? I don't know. It's one of those Ponzi sort of things. No offense if that's what you do, but you know what I mean. MLM. It's not Amway. Who's the one? Ackerman. He was big short and he got buried on it. Herbalife. That's it.
Herbalife.
So I think he took a massive loss on this.
Oh yeah. He'll try and say they're multi-level marketing.
Yeah. So this was another tax loss. This one.
He's good at those, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got special skill. So that's the guy. So I mean, that's.
He's been trying to short Tesla for years.
Oh no, that's a different guy. Oh, maybe he's doing that too. The guy you're thinking of, the Greek guy, he went Chanos. He said, "I'm out of this."
Chanos, yeah.
But, you're talking about the guy that owns Netflix? Netflix is that?
No, a guy that bought into Netflix today is a guy called Aikman or something like that. So he came to fame. Maybe we've got to go to a monthly chart, or at least became noticeable to us. So he started shorting Herbalife, I guess in here, and it went up against him, and he said they were going to get shut down, Supreme Court and all this sort of stuff, for Ponzi scheme, pyramid selling.
A long time ago too.
But then he got whacked. I guess then he got out, and then I think it went down. I mean, I don't want to speak bad of the guy. I don't know enough about it, but that's all I know about him.
Yeah, he exited that trade with his head down.
Yeah, and then it crapped after he did it, right? And now it's back up here.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. If you get in too early, like I said, that whole trade gets ruined just by you making a timing decision.
Yeah. So and people, it's important that's why we say trade at the market. Here's one of your favorite ones, ASML. Look at that one. 760. That's down a quick couple of 150, Johnny. That's a monthly ASML. Let's look at Intel over. Let's look at Intel over long term since 2010. So I guess if you owned it at 210, you're doing all right. But in a serious note, you can see this is really lagged behind the other ones, right? But look at this big double. I think we did this trade, didn't we? Short, because we kind of liked shorting this stock.
You and Murdoch, yeah.
Yeah, I remember
guys
shorting. Yeah.
The company, that really a great comeback was Qualcomm. Qualcomm.
Yeah, let's have a look at that.
Qualcomm, they were in, Do you remember the Nextel phones? Those Nextel.
No, they were great. Yeah, we had them.
Those
We
are
used to
great.
talk to each other. Remember them, Madavi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden they were gone one day. I didn't know what
Yeah,
happened.
we thought we were impressive that we had one of them, and then we were the last ones holding it. I had a Palm too. I had all the good ones.
It was a CD, right? So you didn't have to pay your minutes.
Yeah, it was yeah.
So
One Direction.
the government, from what my understanding, they cracked on them hard because they're being used by like drug cartels and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's along with Bitcoin.
I think they had Bitcoin when Nextel was around.
You get One Direction, you're a Bitcoin.
Like the wars and stuff. You can make up something about it. It's always drugs, always something.
Yeah, it's always something. But so what happened to Nextel? Someone took them over, I guess. Who bought them out? They didn't go broke, did they?
I don't know. They ended up like BlackBerry.
Well, I think they literally just went like that. I mean,
Yeah, they did. I woke up one morning and I'm like, where did my Nextel go?
yeah, it's
Somebody
almost
stole
like
it.
that.
They're probably doing cybersecurity like BlackBerry.
Well, you could talk to each other on Nextel. It's free. So,
Yeah, that was the whole thing behind it.
and so Apple, you can do that too with FaceTime now. So
Well,
WhatsApp and all this stuff.
I mean, the Apple phone's got that TikTok talking too.
yeah, that FaceTime thing. Yeah.
No,
You know who I saw in the markets? I saw
Oh,
Motorola's around still. I don't know
Yeah,
what
so who? Someone bought Motorola. Who was it? Google, I think. Someone
Don't
like
they?
that. Huh?
Motorola makes everything besides it makes phones. And
Yeah, but
used
they
to.
got bought by Google, I thought, and Google took a big loss on them or something.
What happened was they didn't deliver the chips to Apple, so AMD stepped up, to get over. That's how AMD
Oh, really?
got into place. Yeah,
Yeah, you know your chips.
that's why I was telling you guys. It's the same.
So
thing.
you
Well,
study
happening
the
with
chips
Intel.
up in the metaverse.
Intel does the same thing. Yeah,
Mac used to hot chips for a while back in the day.
Okay, so here's
work for
QCOM. Here's QCOM. So look at this. So it gapped up in November of 2021. Or was that, yeah, last year gapped here. I think they won a court case or something. From 35 up to 50. So it's got this gap to fill down here. This is QCOM. At some point, right?
They had that technology that that phone, the Nextel phone, used. I think it was a directional technology. So they kind of got outdated too for a while. That's why there was no Stadium all of a sudden.
Well, they had a massive court case against them for something. I remember. That's that was what that gap is, and then. But yeah, I don't know. Something happened.
They've reinvented themselves and they're doing good now. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of reinventions going on, right? A lot of
They
the
discovered themselves.
yeah rediscovered. Yeah, we all do that at some point.
Well, look at IBM did the same thing. A lot of these companies have. The ones that don't know how to discover is the ones that are, and you don't ever.
Well,
have to
that's
pay
where Intel. Well, you know who did a great job of that was Microsoft because they were dead in the water for a long time, sideways. They always.
It was trust that the dead in the water and a terrible CEO. The guy who owns the Clippers now,
Which one's that?
Ballman or whatever he was terrible.
Oh.
He just jump and scream.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah, we did a bit of that today.
Now he owns the Lakers. He's got tons of stock.
To get off the subject, but it says here, is Nextel back in 2021? So the answer still stands. No. Because the technology never left. It's only improved. It's actually basically your phone that you have today does the same thing that this thing does.
One interesting thing is most of those phones don't work anymore because they just did something with the data that's not going to work no more. The carriers are not going to have like a 2G or whatever it was.
Right. Here's MSoft. So when did Barmer get booted? Or retire, sorry.
When Microsoft started going up.
So down here, pretty much, right?
He was a wild guy screaming as a cheerleader for him. I think him and fucking Gates were good friends.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get back on track with I think stocks. So we'll go quickly through. I think we covered all the markets, but on the S&P we went through all that. So to finish off, so you can see the S&P couldn't get over that level we looked at. Remember, we looked at all the tankers for those who doubts it. This is all live. This is not, we don't readjust the screens. We don't put in new moving averages. We don't tell stories. Anyway, was that good? I was trying to do my best for that show we're going to do on Netflix. But here we are on the daily. If we go to the 60, for those who doubted, the power of the Nova wave. Remember, kiss of death forming, the tank and flat, boom, right into it, and boom. So we just come off nearly 30 handles as we've been doing this. And we can bet our bottom dollar that our little friends over there in Cybertruck land, let's see how they went through all that.
Yeah. When are you going to throw the party in your meta world, Johnny, with the whole new family? Everybody wants to come.
Yeah, when we get to, that's the thing, we get to 1,000 subscribers, people, we're having a party in the meta world.
Yeah, that'll be a great party.
The only way you get invited.
Yeah. And
so we're still at 937 on Tesla.
So
and we'll just have a look at
931.
931 now. Yeah, I just fell a quick $6 and changing there.
Chemo's coming. He's reserved already, Johnny.
So there we have that. So it's pretty clear anyway as far as the market went. Powell, I think our take on it's fairly accurate, that he's doing as measured as he can. He's got, just think what he's got, what he's weighing up, as we said. He can't create it. I think he'd be pretty happy that a lot of the crap, the air has come out of the market, and most of the casualties are more the total high flyer, which has been hurting sensible investment, really. Just look at some of these SPACs. Give me strength.
Pull up the S&P 5-day, the 5-day run, and you'll see this almost. It looks like it's almost like, I dare to say.
I'm out of intel.
Oh God, it's like one of those things that
5
affected the
days?
crypto,
There
just
you go.
like 5-day S&P.
Oh, you want it even?
It's just like it.
Yeah, so we broke this
drop round.
Yeah, it's just a series of 1-2s, 1-2 bang, 1-2 bang, and so remember this is our tanking, and it was testing this breakdown level. So now you've got, this is either going to be either another corrective wave and it goes through these lows, or this is at 1-2, right? So this is all important. If we go back to daily, you'll see what I mean. Sorry, mate.
I like the bang. Can you do that again one more time? Let me see how the bang goes.
Bang!
Oh, that's a good one.
Bang!
A lot of the crypto guys like this volatility because they can trade up and down, up and down.
Well, yeah, anyone likes volatility as long as you can get in now, right? But here's what happens. This is Bitcoin right when we after Jerome Powell said, okay. So this is what Spoozanad did. So it was hard to stay short in Spoos. And Nasdaq, we know because we're in it, right? So something as wild as this and it moves instantly, it's hard to be short unless you're selling all the way up like the big guys. And so that's the other thing. Don't try to get every trade, punters and dribblers, because you're not going to get them. You're going to get caught. And how's your father? And it's going to be someone else's fault, as it always is. So what you got to do is be the right size, look at your resistance, and be prepared for a little bit of pain. It doesn't mean you're wrong. You're trying to get your position. If I'm massive and I'm on Bitcoin, guess what I'm doing? I'm pushing this up here to sell into me, as I said. This is no different to any other market, right? The big blokes were selling. You could see what was going on today in that number, right?
Oh,
not on this, but in the Spurs stocks. Apple's a great one. How good was that's just so classic. If you're a market maker, they got that up to 164. Done. Okay, and you could see it coming off. Remember, I was watching that vol, Johnny. What we're getting you to do, and lo and behold, what happened? And so the arse just falls out of it. That's a technical position.
And one thing you said is very important. Is you can have the perfect plan, perfect thing, and it does whatever you want on paper. But to be able to execute it with all that pressure is something
Yeah, and that's my point with that Bitcoin thing. And like even when you get it perfect, then your mind's a difficult thing, and that's why it's important. I remember I said, "Damn, I should have had that daily up," and then I remember that on the spoos. It would have kept me in.
Yeah, I have a saying, mind's a dangerous thing.
Yeah, well, I'm lucky. I've had more concussions than sliced bread, so.
Hey, pull up AMD real quick, and because we were talking about semis, pull up AMD because I'm just getting my butt handed to me in this.
Is that a technical term?
Yeah.
Is that transitory?
I think it's more statutory. But okay, here's AMD.
Look
at that thing.
Oh yeah. So that's all. Nice. So again,
it's my brain.
Went off again.
My brain.
So this is a 5-minute chart. Let's go, and this will look exactly like what we just saw on Spurs and NAS.
But you got to say if it's transitory or it's not.
Well, so people knock old Jerome, but it is transitory in the sense of it's from supply issues rather than other things. Or when I look at these, I think transitory is more the profits were temporary or transitory, right? Paper profits, mate. Until it's in your bank, it ain't booked, right? So what are we looking at a daily? Which time frame do you want me to look at?
I just was a week time frame. I've been in this.
Yeah, it's not pretty, mate. It's a continuation pattern. If Nasdaq breaks, it'll do this same move, unless a miracle happens.
That would be a put scenario.
Yeah, so you've got, see that, let me draw it. Where do you do a line on this thing? Where's Alan when you need him? Boom, boom.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So you can see if it breaks these two, and you can see this mirrored that spoos, right? Actually, let's do this one. There's a... Hang on. I'm still getting used to this one. Parallel channel. So we got this. Oh, damn it. It moved on me. Yeah, hang on. Let's get rid of that and try this again. So remember, with heavy machinery, people, kind of feels like
drive. Drink.
Don't drink and drive. Put it down.
I like the spells.
There it is. So what I'm trying to do is see. So that's what it's in. It's this little box. So it needs to get, and so that top was that Tenkan we just saw on the spoos and the NAS. It needs to get above that to get up here to the Cajun. If it gets under it, then this is more than likely correcting this move. So then it would go down to that same level. We're at 5/8. So your target then becomes 7/8, 2/8. We're under all our stuff. See how the chi cows come down. So that's, how many did I just count? 2. So we can get down to 3/8 pretty easy, which is $87.
This thing could go down to $87.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, mathematically, right? And so if you look at potentially, if it breaks this, so I can get up to here, which is 130 in there. Let's look at a daily and see if 87 is actually plausible. So 87 is would be this low here.
Up to 116, and I have it at 117 today.
Yeah, bargain, mate, bargain. So here's your 87. That's where I broke up from. So all this maths, it's not magic. It's kind of is, I guess. But it's people are unpredictable in a very predictable way, and that's why I always say the people that really do good at things like trading, because you got to be disciplined. Usually come from a discipline like pro sports at school. Like discipline kind of backgrounds, not just sport, but military, depends on, but that sort of thing, because you want that structured mind to be able to stay in it, because what you don't want to do is get the greed take over. And what's really hard is not shorting here, right? as Madavi said, right, on a lot of these things. Not short too early. It's better to let what did you say, the trade complete today and then go short? So if you know your Murray, so the reason we use Murray and Ichimoku is you're trying to put the probability. It's all probability. You're not God, right?
Right, but so this is more of a.
Yeah.
How many? This is a monthly.
This is a daily. You want to look at monthly? You might
no. What I'm trying to do is like if you are in it real time, and you see green up, a little red, you follow it, and then it has moved down, and then it has a move.
Well, that's why it's not that simple. That's why all these people blew out, and they're all over bloody FinTwit and saying how
that's an important thing, Dish. I think that's very important to address because you see a red and then a green, you stay in it, and then a red and then a green, and then all of a sudden it's like red.
Yeah, so that's your trend break. I mean, this is great around Christmas. That's about the only relevance. So that's what. So when we put together NovaWave over years and years, and we're combining that with just trading experience, order flow, psychology, all this stuff, we came back to the systems that work. So you want to... The hardest thing about being anything is the mind. Anything. Picking up, working on a garbage truck, to being a neurosurgeon and all in between. So it's having the discipline to not fall for your week, and it's really hard. So that's why we came up with what we came up with. Remember I said many times, if things like Ichimoku, you got to bloody understand it. You got to know it. It takes years. And what I see is people claiming they know all these different systems in weeks or months, and usually what they do, they already got a view of something's going up or something's going down, and they change it to fit it. Right? Yep. Oh, it doesn't look good on the daily. Oh shit, it looks really good on the hourly or the 5 minute.
No, you're 2 minute, and then you're 5 minute.
But that's
this is going somewhere on the 1 minute.
Yeah. Because they've already made up what they're going to do, right? We just saw black and white, and so the reason Gann and Murray and it depends horses for courses, right? But it gives you an idea where it can be in the future. In the past, that's Chico. You love this. Not many people pick up what you've picked up. I'm not just saying because you're a mate, but what you're picking up were the guys who came up with this. And it's simple. You go and read books from the French Revolution, like in English. I think it's The Crowd in English. So Le Bon is the author, but this is the same psychology applies today. I mean, sheeple are sheeple, mate. A merino hasn't changed much in 1,000 years, and humans aren't a lot smarter.
A burrito?
Don't quote me on that. A merino, that's a sheep from Australia. Famous sheep. Every Australian knows that. Every New Zealander knows that. Now, we won't bring up what New Zealand... I'll leave that one alone.
Okay, so I guess my
what's your question?
And going into that was I was above the clouds, and I think I probably adjusted it to the wrong time period, and I let it go once I was in. I thought, and then I looked at a different time period, and I said, "Oh my God!" Then clouds, I'm breaking below the clouds. I should be shorting this right now.
Well, so let's go to a spurs where I look at all the different time frames for a reason, right? So you want to be able, you want to have as many reasons.
Does Chemo use this? Chemo's there, right?
Yeah, Chemo's over there. Like I told Chemo, we got to keep it easy. Treat it like a video game. Green is good, red is bad.
Well, so here's the S&P. And you see I look at all different times. So I want the longest time, weekly, daily. And so your overall trend, right? So you'll favour to be long or short. And you don't have to go both ways. Now, there's a joke there somewhere. But but if you've each got a bias, it makes it easier, right? It takes off half the risk. You only lose once instead of twice, right? But
so
anyway.
If a novice asked you what would be the best time period in the average trade on a value stock.
Well, you got to look. I don't believe you got to look at one. You got to look at more than one. to stop you making the mistakes.
That's what I've been doing.
So if you could, so back in the day, more when we're active, we would look at, so a lot of people used to just look at 5 and 15 minutes, right? And then that became, what I noticed pretty early on, at 3 and 18 was outside that, and you would then, because, okay, so most trades are false. So 85%, 80 odd breaks lose, right? So whenever I see someone just buy breaks, that's their part of their thing. I go, well, he ain't getting my money, you know. So 85% of them lose. So most trading systems are based on 15 minutes, right? The reason Ichimoku works is outside that, and so if you're getting 3 to 18, you're outside that automatic. But then you want to look at and there's lots of things. A lot of algorithms don't even kick in to 15 or 20 minutes. Remember I said don't do option trades unless you're getting out. Don't put them on in the first 15 minutes because the liquidity's not there, all that. So you want to get around that. So most lambs get slaughtered, right? So that's why you look at that. But so doing all that, then you look at the longest term, so weekly, daily, you get an overall view. And we've had these charts out there, people. We don't make them up. We didn't change. We weren't telling you to buy this crap at October, November last year. Remember all that. Go back and look at them. We don't delete anything. So we look at the overall waves. So that's your weekly and daily. And so what did I do in November? Sold everything, right? End of it. No more long, done. And so you don't know when it's going to happen. So once it starts to confirm on these longer time frames, then you start moving down to the shorter ones. You're trying to eliminate human error. That's why we use Murray. And there's a pity Checkmate's not in here because he's very so basically on Murray, if it keeps hitting -2/8 on 5 minutes, and keeps breaking down, it's a higher wave, right? Because you never know. So it's discipline. And then you watch what it works. You watch what the tanking that's dominating. Because that means, just in simple order flow terminology, someone's got their foot on it, right? Look at this tanking all the way down on daily, mate. Look at it. Since it broke. And when did it touch it? Today. Boom. Right? It's textbook stuff. But up here, oh, man, it's going up. The herd, and it was violent. Where if you sit back with a plan, you're going to be short here. That's 44.50. It's trading at 43.27. This is 123 points in a bloody day. No, I tell a lie. In 4 hours, right? But when you're here, this is where the herd is. The herd's here and here. You want to just get the meat. But you see how these systems work.
Yeah. It does pay better on McDonald's, right? If you're right.
Yeah. Well, actually, talking about McDonald's, Elon's going to eat a Happy Meal live on TV. We talked about that yesterday, didn't we?
Nice.
If they take the Dogecoin, right?
That's where Donnie ate every day, right? So they don't want to poison them.
Oh, yeah. So is that what the reason was? I remember when one of the football teams won, like the junior college.
Clemson
he gave them all that junk food. Oh, my God, bless.
It's actually good burgers, but McDonald's, Pizza Hut.
You got to laugh at. Oh my God.
Bastards.
I didn't realize it was 5:15. All right.
Yeah, I wish it was 5:15. It's 7:15 in the real world. In the meta world, it might be 5:15.
The meta world, it can be any time. I like the meta world.
Well, people, we did go on a bit. We hope you enjoyed our candid discussion. We tried to cover as much as we could for you on all the different markets in the meta world, the real world, Tesla, Intel, Jerome Powell. What else we talk about? But anyway, on a serious note, oil and gas. Tomorrow we do have, for natural gas punters, you have got the monthly report.
And We're gonna get Chemo in here one of these days if he comes.
We're gonna talk.
Yeah, and remember, if you don't have friends, you always have a mate.
Oh yeah.
You
got
got to work on your material, mate.
It's a hook. That's the hook. That's the hook right there.
So, what do we got out tomorrow? I can't bloody remember. It's Thursday anyway. So, you know you got your jobs numbers. So, they're going to look at every little number. One thing about, look, they're selling that. They're selling this hard ever since Asia's come in. So, that was a quick little 50 handle flash crash. But it was predictable, right? That's my point. Off charts, right? Use them, people.
I did play the video game.
It is a video game.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it's like drone, like the U.S. for the drones. You know, they use a lot of kids who play video games now. That's where they recruit.
Oh, in the military, yeah. There's hope for a shit, mate. We will. So our last thing we'll finish you with. The old ARK ran aground today. ARK K was down 2%. ARK G was down 2%. ARK X was down 1.6%. ARK F was down 2%. ARK W was down 2.5%. And as we're seeing live the destruction of the ES. Look at this. We'll go out with this 5-minute chart.
Yes, loving it.
It's getting pounded. We're almost back to that low. This is so. Everything's cyclical and everything's mathematical. Look at this. Look at this, people. Minus 3/8 to 4/8 and back again. There must be.
Video games are good. I'm long.
So.
Chart is this? Of what?
That's a 5-minute S&P.
I am
just
long.
collapsed. So
since it went down below the red.
Well, the point is, this is where this was the daily tanking up here. It was up here. We've sold. We've come back 50%. Look at this. Plus 4/8, minus 3/8. That's a massive move. We've come back. Then when it broke under here, look, accelerated than here. I mean, there's so many different things here. But
I bought more.
Where was the chart I drew for us? Or on?
Looks like a total short.
Yeah, so here's what that last acceleration was, right? It broke. Remember, it went up to the tanking. God bless America.
Jankin.
Yeah, jankin the tanking right there. So, boom, bang. How's your father? All that stuff. Have a great, I hope you're getting something out of this. Make sure you like, subscribe. As Johnny would say, you smash that like button. You share it. But anyway,
ring the bell and call your mate.
You share it if you find this useful to you, if you're getting something out of it, if you're struggling with trading and we're helping you. We're glad we are, but share it. It's all free.
Right. Tell a friend.
None of that.
Anybody
Tell
that's
a friend.
Yeah.
What else?
Johnny, a Super Bowl party. If we get it before the Super Bowl, you can throw a Super Bowl party.
Yeah, we'll give Tom Brady a call. He's got nothing to do. He might join in.
Go get your avatar.
All the boys. And if you're doing your dancing, everybody's going to show up. You show your Chippendale moves.
By the way, the stock that I focused on most today was GLW, which is Corning, and they're the ones that make all the glasses for Facebook and all that.
Almost for sponsorship for the party.
There you go, mate. Bring them into the Mateverse, straight out of the Metaverse, and we got all that good stuff. So you're getting some serious moves going on. They're all predictable.
Love it.
And that's it, really. Have fun. Be cool. If you can't be cool, what's the old saying? If you can't be cool, be messy. And we will see you. Thanks for enjoying us. Thank you, Madab.
And as Kimo would say,
Johnny.
mahalo. And
Kimo says mahalo.
Mahalo. And what does Madabi always say?
Always be killing it.
And on that note, see you at the roundabout. If you can't be square.